I came back from maternity leave on a Monday morning to find that my role no longer existed. Not in those exact words. The HR director used careful language: restructure, reallocation of responsibilities, evolving business needs. But the substance was clear. The work I had done for 6 years had been redistributed among 2 colleagues while I was on leave, and neither of them was going anywhere. There was an alternative role available. It was 2 grades below mine. The salary was 18% lower. I sat in the meeting with the particular stillness of someone who has just been told something that would have been illegal to tell them, and who is choosing, very deliberately, not to react until they have spoken to a solicitor. I said I needed some time to consider the offer. I asked for everything in writing. I thanked them and left. In the car, I called a specialist employment solicitor. She answered on the 3rd ring. The legal position, she told me, is clear and well established. An employee returning from maternity leave is entitled to return to the same job she left. The same role, the same terms, the same seniority, the same salary. This right is protected under the Maternity and Parental Leave Regulations 1999 and reinforced by the Equality Act 2010. The right to return to the same job can only be displaced in genuinely exceptional circumstances, where it is not reasonably practicable for the employer to allow the return, which typically means the role has genuinely ceased to exist across the entire business. Redistributing the work to existing colleagues while I was on leave and then offering me a lesser role did not meet that test. What had happened to me had a name: pregnancy and maternity discrimination. It is unlawful under the Equality Act. It is also, she said, unfortunately common. She asked me whether I wanted to fight it or negotiate a settlement. I said I wanted my job back. She said we would start there. We submitted a formal grievance the following day. It was specific, legally referenced, and included a request for all documentation relating to the restructure, including the decision-making process and timeline. The documentation they disclosed was, to put it charitably, poorly timed. The restructure had been proposed in a meeting that had taken place 6 weeks after I had notified them of my pregnancy. The minutes of that meeting, which I now had copies of, discussed the reallocation of responsibilities in terms that were connected directly to planning for my absence. There was no evidence of any business need that had arisen independently of my maternity leave. My solicitor described this as unusually clear evidence for a discrimination claim. The grievance outcome upheld my complaint. The company reinstated my original role, backdated my salary for the period I had been incorrectly offered the lesser role, and made a settlement payment that included compensation for injury to feelings. I returned to my original position. The colleague who had been performing my role was moved to a newly created position. The HR director, who had delivered the news in the restructure meeting, left the company 6 months later. I have been back in my role for 14 months. My performance reviews are excellent. Nobody has mentioned the restructure since. Know your right to return. It is not a courtesy. It is a legal entitlement. If your role has been changed, downgraded, or given to someone else while you were on maternity leave, get advice immediately. Has a workplace ever treated a legal right as though it were optional? Drop it in the comments. And if you want more complete stories with no part 2s that never come, follow the page. New story every day.